Hi you guys, it's Kaden King and welcome back to my channel. I mean, even just saying that, like, it's been a lot. Like, I've been gone from YouTube for 2 years, and I personally think that was something, not by choice. I think it was something that I was forced into. Like, I don't know where to start this video. I don't. It's so hard. I've tried to film this video, like, 8 times, and I feel like every time it comes out worse and worse. And that's not because I'm trying to force something or I'm trying to push something. It's because I feel like I'm leaving bits of information out. And the last time I filmed this, the camera wasn't even recording. I was so annoyed. But, that's not what's important. And I think that's something also why I've tried to refilm it so many times, because what's important is telling you guys the full side of the story. Like, I don't care if you support me, I don't care if you hate me. I want you to have the facts, and then, you can decide where to go from there. So yes, I've been off of YouTube for 2 years. I have moved to Texas. I decided to be with someone, and I'm no longer with that person. Now, what's weird about this situation is, I'm a broken person. I'm someone hurting. I'm someone who has gone through so much. I just think I don't know what it is. I have this little thing in my brain that says you deserve to hurt, you deserve to go through bad things, you deserve the worst. And that's something that has always been a conflict in my life. I don't know why I feel that. I don't know, why I choose to accept these things that happen to me, because deep down, I know I'm a good person. And that's not to say I don't make mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes in my life. But I know at the end of the day when I go to sleep that my intentions were good. I've never meant to hurt anybody. Like, if I've hurt you, like, I'm so genuinely sorry. Like, but seriously, like, I genuinely mean that. Like, when I hurt someone, like, you don't know how badly it affects me. Like, if I find out someone's mad at me, like, I will not let it go until they're not mad at me anymore. Like, I can't deal with people not liking me, people hating me. If I do something that's annoying, like, I will ponder it for months and try not to make the same mistake, because I don't want anyone to be mad at me. I genuinely want to be a good person. And I think with all of my efforts, like, I know I'm trying, and that's what really matters. So that's why, like, when I say I know I'm a good person, like, I know there was work put into being a good person. Doesn't mean I always make the right choice. Sometimes we have to accept the fact we can't always make good choices because of things that have happened to us. And that's not to say that it's an excuse. Like, we definitely can work on ourselves and make ourselves better, but, there's still mistakes that can happen along the way. So I just want, to throw it out there. If anyone's mad at me or if I offended anyone, like, I have not meant to, like, I'm really sorry. And that's important. Like, I'm genuinely sorry. So I have been living back in Utah for a month. I can't even believe it's been a month. Like, seriously, it feels like 2 days of living here again. When I first started talking to this person, it's actually really funny because he used to watch the King channel. If you don't know what the King channel is, it's a channel that I had with, we're just gonna say his name, Kyle, because obviously, like, if you know, like, I don't think it's anything bad by saying Kyle's name. And I think that's another really, like, weird aspect of it all. Like, I started the King channel with someone that I genuinely did care about. There's a history there and I respect that history. And I think that's something we don't always do, right? Like, sometimes we just want to say, like, oh, I hate that person. Like, person. That's just not how I feel. Like, I think I saw his mom the other day, like, at the mall. Like, I was scared. Like, I was getting off the freeway and I saw her in her car, I think. Like, I was so genuinely, like, I don't know, it was just weird. It was a weird feeling. Like, I've never run into them until then. Just all these years later, like, it brings up so many emotions. I'm getting a little bit off subject here. While I was on the King channel, this person that I met in Texas watched the King channel. So when I was single, after I had broken up with Kyle and I had moved on, he started to message me. I think it's also very important to know, like, after I broke up with Kyle, like, I was in a really dark place, like the darkest place I've ever been in my whole life, for sure. During that time, like, there were other things that happened behind the scenes that I don't like to talk about. Just was this big blurry mess, and it just broke my heart. It took me so long to even be able to wake up and exist after that. Like, that was probably the darkest place I've ever been in my whole life. That's when I was so just innocent and believed in people and believed in happiness and believed in fairy tales. You know, that was just my wake-up call that that was never gonna happen. You know, that's not to say that I can't find someone great. I'm just saying the fairy tale fantasy is definitely popped or expired, or I just know it's not real. It took me so long to come back as a person, and I was not 100% complete, and I think that's very important. I would say I was 70% a person when I had recovered from that. And should I have been dating? No. Should I have been talking to people? No. I should have been in my own little world, and I didn't do that. And I wish I would have done that more, because I think it would have healed me, because I was still seeking that acceptance from others. So during that time, you know, I had dated a couple people, you know, I was really hurting. Like, it just seemed like everyone I went out with was hurting me, and I just couldn't understand why, because I genuinely was trying, 110% trying. I shouldn't have been, because I should know myself better than that, and I should know when to call it quits. But I went through a lot, and I think that's important to note, because when this person from Texas reached out to me, like, I just wanted someone to love me. I wanted someone to care for me. I wanted to just, at that point, I was working 3 jobs. I was busting my butt. I was in school, and I just had all these failed relationships, and I just wanted someone to care. So when this person came along, they used to watch my YouTube channel. That's what they told me. They DM'd me. They said, that's how I found you. And we just started talking. I remember being so just excited that someone was taking an interest in me. Like, it really meant a lot. Like, I was really struggling. It's so hard, because I was in the best place career-wise. I was in the best place school-wise. I was in the best place body-wise. Like, I was so tiny. I worked out all the time. I was eating super healthy, but I just still had all this emotional trauma. And I think we don't acknowledge that, or we don't think to take the time to process it, because what was I doing? I was still working. I was doing all these things, and I was even in therapy, but was I taking the time to heal? No, because in life, we don't take the time to heal, because there's a world out here, and it will swallow us whole if we stop for even a minute on that treadmill. But this person just was so genuinely kind and sweet to me in the beginning. You know, I remember being just so happy to talk to someone that cared that much. And then we started FaceTiming. We started FaceTiming every night. Every night I'd get off of work, I'd go work out, and I would come home to FaceTime, and I was so excited. And, you know, I genuinely was enjoying the connection we were having. It started to take a turn. Us FaceTiming, it turned into, I couldn't fall asleep without hanging up the phone. I had to be on the phone with him. You know, instantly, this was a red flag to me. Like, it was a genuine, this is me giving up my freedom, basically, because at night, it was all about him. I did that. I sold my freedom again. And you'd think I would know better from what I'd been through, but that's just what happened. I was weak. I was going through things, and someone genuinely cared and was taking an interest. So I let the red flags slide. Kept 6 months FaceTiming. And the only time I got a break was when I was at work. I was so excited to go to work because I was getting a break, which is, it's bad. I should have known. But I wanted to believe in something, you know, because, you know, some people wouldn't even text me back. This person wants to be with me all the time. Like, I should cherish that. And that's where a lot of that confusion came in. So, you know, 6 months go by, and he's like, well, why don't you come and visit me? Yeah, like, why don't you fly down here? You come and visit me, and I will, you know, treat you to this unforgettable week of your life. You know, I told him, okay, like, sounds great. And I bought my plane ticket. Like, I was nervous, but I wasn't scared to meet this person because I didn't think any harm would come to me. So I flew down there to Texas. It was like southern Texas, like right by the border. So I fly all the way down there, you know, and I just didn't know what to expect. And of course, it was so weird because I have this big thing about butterflies. Like, if you guys don't know, I have a tattoo of a butterfly on my arm, but I have this big thing about butterflies, right? Because I love butterflies. It actually started, Megan Fox has this tattoo, "We will all laugh at gilded butterflies," and that's actually a Shakespeare quote. If you want to research it, go ahead and research it. Butterflies just mean a lot to me, right? So I get off the plane, I'm at the airport, I'm walking through the lobby, and I look up, and there are these paper cutout butterflies. Like, I'm talking probably thousands, like, hanging from the ceiling. And I thought, what a sign. I thought, this is it. Like, this is a sign that I'm meant to be here. So I end up exiting the airport. I'm standing outside, and all of a sudden pulls up this beautiful black Porsche Panamera, gold rims, like tinted windows. Instantly, my heart sank. I got nervous. And he got out of the car. He was real sweet, like cool. He picked up my bag. He threw it in the car. He told me to get in. I was nervous. Like, this is someone so out of my league. Like, here they are in this beautiful car. Like, you have to understand, like, I'm not anything special. Like, I'm someone who's just very mediocre, average American, and here rolls up this like baller. So we're driving in the car. He instantly leans over and kisses me. We'd maybe talked 2 seconds. And he just kisses me. And I just melted away. Like, I got those butterflies in your stomach that you get when you're so excited about something. And when you genuinely believe, like, this is real. And I was just so excited. You know, so we get back to his place or whatever. And we go to sleep. The next day is, like, he takes a couple days off of work. He's a very big business salesman. He is amazing at his job. First day, he, like, takes me to the mall. Like, he's like, oh, come on. Like, this is gonna be so fun. And, you know, I was really nervous. Like, I'm the type of person that goes on a date super nervous. So to be at someone's house that I had never met, like, it was a lot for me. You know, even when we were at the mall, like, he's just taking me on this experience. Like, this is a man that works so hard for himself and provides for himself. He had the coolest sneakers ever. Like, he probably has seriously 1,000 pair of shoes. And material things don't matter, but I'm just trying to give you that perspective of here's this person who is like just full excess of life. And that's because he works hard for it. That's very important. It's not because someone handed it to him. He works his butt off. But we're at the mall. He takes me into a sneaker store. I've never been in a sneaker store in my life. Like, I've never seen a Yeezy. Like, that just doesn't exist in Utah. So there's just all these Yeezys along the wall. And I've always been a fan of Kanye and Yeezy. And I always wanted them. I remember I wanted Yeezys since I was in maybe high school, like when they first came out. It was such like Cinderella moment. He said, pick out whatever you want. You know, you can have this, you can have that. And I was ready to pay. Like, I was ready to pay for myself. Like, I had never seen a pair. I was like, okay, I'll buy them myself. And he's like, no, like, I want to treat you. Like, he bought me probably 5 pairs of shoes, like all sorts of clothes. Like, money doesn't matter. Material things don't matter. But the experience, the way the store catered to him felt very mature. It just felt good. So anyways, then, you know, we buy sunglasses, we buy all sorts of things. And, you know, it was just a great day. And then, you know, the next 2 days he's at work. I'm respecting it. He's going to work. Oh, he's coming home. He's taking me to dinner. He leaves next day, goes to work. And I was just in bliss. I was just staying at his house, like trying to clean it up, like trying to make sure it stayed real nice and clean for him. I was reading my book. I didn't have very much to do. And this is where I should have just known it was not a good idea to be with him. Like, this was God telling me. So he comes home. He's angry, like so angry. Like, it went from doves and hearts and rainbows to this angry, dark person. I looked into his eyes and I could just see black. Like, I could not see a person anymore. You know, he starts to, you know, just be grumpy. And anytime I question him, he gets more and more mad. And at that point, I didn't know what to do. I'm trying to comfort you. Like, I'm trying to do, like, whatever you need me to. Like, can you talk to me? He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to have any communication. He ends up getting so mad at me. He just says, I want you to leave. I want you to go home. And of course, at that moment, I'm thinking, I'm supposed to be here like another 4 days. I can't just leave. Like, it was so expensive to buy a plane ticket in the first place, but I bought one. And now you want me to buy an extra one? He's like, yeah, I want you out. I want you to get them. Like, that's what he kept saying. He started screaming at me. And of course, I'm scared. I start crying. Like, you know, here I thought this was it. And now, you know, here's the reminder that I'm just a human, that I don't matter, that I'm not worth it. And I keep trying to tell him, like, I know something must have happened. Like, you can talk to me. Like, if you need your space, I can leave you alone for a while. He wanted me to get out. He wanted me to buy a plane ticket that day. He made me check out and buy a plane ticket to go back home early. And if that wasn't bad enough, I'm sobbing at this point. Like, I'm hysterically crying. And then I'm starting to pack up all my stuff. I'm not packing up a thing he bought me. I'm not touching any of that. I don't feel like that's mine. And he's like, no, you need to take all this. Like, you need to put this all in your bag. And I'm like, it's not gonna fit. Like, it's not going to fit. Like, I stuffed my bag full. Like, it was a small little carry-on. I stuffed it full. So he's like, we need to go to Ross. He makes me get in the car. He drives me to Ross. Guys, like, I have never cried this hard in a long time. I'm just like hysterically crying, begging him not to do this. He was just being so cold. So then we pull up to Ross. I'm bawling my eyes out. I look disgusting. He's like, get out, go buy a bag, get out. So I get out. I'm walking into Ross, bawling. Like, I was a nightmare. I grabbed the first suitcase I could find on the shelf, and I'm just begging the people to check me out so I can leave. They're looking at me crazy. Get out. I get in the car. You know, he takes me back to his place, and he expects me, like, to pack all my shit, and I'm packing all my shit as fast as I can. I'm like, I don't feel like I need to take this stuff. It's not mine. I didn't buy it. And he's like, no, take it and get the... So I took it, and, you know, then he takes me to the airport, and I'm just, you know, trying to really have a heart-to-heart with him. I'm trying to reach him, and I'm trying to say, hey, like, talk to me. Like, you can talk to me. Like, tell me what's wrong. We get to the airport. He not one word out of his mouth. And I keep begging him, give me something. Do you not like me? He says, get out. And I freeze. I don't want to get out. I'm crying. I have sunglasses on at this point because I'm so embarrassed. He screams, get the out of my car. Get out. Get out. I get out of the car. He drives off. Not looking at me, nothing. Drives off. And at this point, I have never felt so worthless as a human. I have never felt so just bad in my life. So I turned and I walked into the airport. Now, mind you, I always thought going through TSA, like, if you don't seem like a normal person, they're gonna pull you aside. Like, they will pull you aside and not let you leave. So I'm trying to maintain my composure, and I'm not. I'm bawling my eyes out. It looks psychotic. I'm crying nasty. Like Kim K, ugly, crying. TSA was stunned. I don't think they knew what to do, what to say. They asked for my ID. They asked for my ticket. I went through security. Didn't have any weapons. I'm sitting in the airport just crying. I get on the plane, crying. Everyone's looking at me. I look psychotic. I look stupid. I look dumb. And finally I get back to Utah and just, I'm so emotionally exhausted at that point. Like, I'm crying, like, just crying. Like, I've never cried so much in my whole life. Like, I was so upset. I think what's so sad about it is, you know, I just, such a red flag. Like, you hurt me that bad, man. I should know never to talk to you again. Anyways, the worst part is I still wanted him. Like, I still wanted to be with him. And I was just so sad. It had to be like a couple weeks, right? I'm just so sad about it. And it's so funny because then a couple weeks go by and I'm finally just starting to accept, you know, wasn't going to work out. And, you know, that was just going to be the end of it. He calls me probably a week before Christmas. And, you know, he tells me, hey, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry. I need you here. Please come be with me. Let us have this moment. Like, you can move down with me and it's all gonna be okay. Like, we learned we can't live without each other. And I'm just thinking, you broke my heart for no reason. You sent me home for no reason. You let me cry to so many people for no reason just to get home, to bawl to my mom for hours that no one was ever gonna love me. For him to just suggest that I come and live with him, you screwed me over. And, you know, like, on one side, I was super hurt. And on the other side, I didn't care. Wanted to be with somebody. I said, okay. He's like, I'll take care of your school. Like, I'll take care of you. You don't have to work. You can just focus on becoming this. At that point, I wanted to be a doctor. He's like, you can just focus on being a doctor. I've got you. Like, it's all going to be okay. Like, I'm so sorry. And of course, like I said, I had all those feelings and I just said, yes, I'll move down there. I was so fed up with my life. I was so fed up with feeling like my family didn't care about me. I left. I told him, yes, I'll move down there. So, you know, I wasn't sure. I was struggling. You know, I quit my amazing job with all my great benefits and my great pay. You know, just I quit and I left. And, you know, Victor came to get me. You know, he just really tried to make up, I think, for hurting me. He talked to my parents. He told them, you know, I'm going to take care of your son. He's always going to be able to come visit you. I'm going to support him. Like, I will love him till the end of time. And that was also very genuine. Kyle never talked to my parents, hardly ever. Like, Victor sat down with them and told them, like, hey, I'm gonna take care of your child. Like, I don't want you to have to worry. Like, it's gonna be great. We're gonna be this partnership, and, you know, he's gonna be able to come see you guys whenever he wants. I'll buy the ticket even if he has to come alone, you know. And it just felt like he really was trying to make up for it. So, you know, I moved with such a positive attitude and such a hopeful mindset. And, you know, that's where things really took the turn for the worst. I got to his house, I moved in, and it just, maybe there was a 2-month fantasy world, and then everything just flipped. And I noticed it was small little things. Like, while he was working, I tried to be, like, if he really wanted me to be a housewife, like, here I was ready to cook, clean. Like, he was coming home to fresh sheets, fresh everything, fresh laundry. I was cooking to the nines. Like, I was doing everything. He would come home. He would complain that it wasn't the clean he wanted. He wouldn't have done the laundry that way. He wouldn't have cooked this. He wouldn't have cooked that. He would have preferred this over that. And I just started to creep up like these little, I'm not saying they were major flags. I'm saying they're little red flags. And they were just starting to pop, 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 until there were so many that I was, what is wrong with him? And it wasn't only things I was doing in the household. Like, it turned into, I don't like you being feminine. I don't like you being girly. I don't like you wearing girly clothes. I don't like your bleached hair. He did not like anything I did. Like, I've had bleached hair since I was probably in first grade on and off, right? I've probably had bleached hair constant for the past 10 years. You know, for him to just want to take all these like things away from me slowly. Like, I was homesick. Like, I wanted to see my family after 3 months of being there. He's like, no, you're not going to go see him. Like, that's too expensive. Like, I'm the one that pays the bills. You don't have a job. Like, you're not going to go see them. So the job thing became a really big issue. Like, it became like, I'm supporting you. I'm doing all these things. And I reminded him, like, that's what you promised. Since the beginning of our relationship, I really think it's important to discuss. We were arguing. We were having major fights. You know, he wasn't holding up his end of the bargain, which was fine. I wanted a job since the second I got to Texas. I was like, I want to work somewhere. Like, even if it's somewhere dumb, like the Lego store. He was like, no, you're not going to work there. That's trashy. And just, you know, things like that. It feels like since I moved down with him, I instantly gave up my freedom for anything. And this is where I had the bright idea to work for the company he works at. I thought, here's me being a sacrificer. I'll go work for his company. He doesn't have to worry about what I'm doing all day, and he'll always know where I am. I get a job at his company. I start off very small, and you know, for the next 2 years we were together. I really made a career for myself at that company because I was invested. I wanted the company to do well, because if the company was doing well, he was doing well. So I was handling so much like office work, you know, and over time that group, it was a residential construction, custom home builder, whatever you call that kind of companies. You know, I was busting my ass in inspections, and you know, that grew into me taking over accounting. And then while I was doing accounting, I was doing permits and new clients, and I was taking over being the office manager. I sold my soul to that company, which is crazy. I gave so much time and effort to that company. My boss's children, my boss, personally, like, that job was very interesting. It was friends. It really was. It was friends and it was work. It was such a weird combination of the two. It was almost like family business type, you know, where they were just so close. It was family, but it was also very toxic. I was seriously putting in so much effort into this company. You know, to be fair, I shouldn't have. At the same time, I was good at it. I was making a killing, and I hated going home to Vic because we would just get in an argument. We'd get in an argument every night. We'd get in an argument over what I was doing, what I was acting like, what I was drinking. He didn't like me to drink. He didn't like me to work out. He didn't like me to be here. He didn't like me to be there. He always wanted me to be home or at work. So I was at work because at least I was making money. My boss was proud of me because I was taking care of everything. So I lived the last probably 6 months of our relationship. My relationship was not going well with Victor. It was so hard that it was just easier to be at work, because if I was at work, I didn't have to deal with him, because I was in my own office doing my own thing. I just didn't have to deal with him emotionally anymore. I wasn't prepared for it. You know, there's so many things that happen. He always was yelling at me for something. Nothing was ever right. And this is where it gets very sticky, because I don't like to mention these things because I think it's a part of the story. And if I don't mention it, you guys aren't getting the full picture. And if you guys aren't getting the full picture, you can't make your own conclusion because it's bias. I want you guys to hear everything, and you can tell me from day one of moving down to be with Victor. I said there was a honeymoon period, which there was, but I'm saying, as far as I remember and know, ever since I've been with Victor, it has been an abusive, and I don't just mean emotional, I mean physical. It was abusive our whole relationship. And I get I'm not perfect. I get I can be mean. I get I can get into a heated argument. What is also so important to know is that when me and argue, it was over things like the color of my hair, what I wore, how I acted, if I said something dumb he didn't like. These arguments, like I didn't cook what he wanted, I didn't clean something right, I left crumbs on the counter. Like, these arguments I had with him were over such, like, even me wanting to go see my family, and that's even when I was working and could pay my own plane ticket to go home to visit them. He didn't want me to because he couldn't go with me. It would go from, like I said, crumbs on the counter to him telling me, I hate you, you're a horrible person, I'm gonna leave you, no one's ever gonna want to be with you, you're fat, you're ugly, you're a piece of... It would get abusive physically. Like, I'm not talking a push or a shove, like I'm talking a punch, like throwing a box at me. You want to talk about problems? Do you see this? I will have a permanent scar on my arm for the rest of my life because of things he's done to me. Now, I also think it's important to know I've been in an abusive relationship before, physically and mentally, with somebody else. I learned my lesson from that. Like, I documented it because I wanted to. I was smart enough to this time. I wanted to have the facts and the evidence. What happened last time? People chose to doubt me. You know, there were some people that, where's your proof? And I just wanted to remind myself, he didn't make a document, make a chart, make a tally of every time you have to take a picture because he hurt you. Like, I wanted to know, like, how often is this happening, to help remind myself of, am I willing to put up with this? I was never going to share it with anyone. I just wanted my own personal documentation of it. I had these fights with him that were not good, that were aggressive. You know, I've been questioning whether or not I was going to share these with you, but I just want you to hear them for yourselves and decide for yourselves. Now, I would share everything, but it's important to make a note here, and we have to fast forward. When I decided to leave, when I decided, you know, enough is enough, I'm gonna move out, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, I just want you guys to know, he made me delete all of them. I can't remember how he found out. He knew I had been keeping track of them, and he threatened, you know, me in front of my dad. My dad was there. He was like, you're gonna delete this, or it was so dumb, but he just wanted to take my property away from me, my things. And, you know, I just wasn't willing to let him go, so I deleted the album. But, you know, lucky enough, and I have 2 videos that weren't deleted. This was over crumbs on the counter. Since we lived in the apartment, I told you stop fucking acting like an idiot. You make a mess, you leave bags everywhere, you leave everything thrown. Why? When you're done eating, clean it, put it away. Look what you did from last night. What is this from? So that was over crumbs on the counter. And, you know, I'm not to say, like, I should have left him there. Yeah, I should clean up after myself. You know, I was doing over 40 hours a week at work, stressing myself out. You know, and I was working really hard, and I just don't deserve that. And, you know, I'm sure if you guys know me, like, I love my Victoria's Secret pajamas. That night, he ripped them off of my body. It makes you almost wonder, like, with Kyle, like, was obviously this person was way worse to me, but it almost like it makes you feel bad because is it because like I called Kyle out on his shit? Like, am I being punished? But even then, like, I could say like I was the problem, but I wasn't. I really wasn't. Like, I tried. I was a tired person working my butt off. And just to hear that back from your partner is so degrading. It makes you feel like shit. I just want you guys to understand, like, that's what I went through with weekly, daily. Like, it happened so many times. Am I crazy for leaving? Like, I just don't know. And then the next one I'm going to show you is, I mean... And that was me trying to get something out of our storage unit and moving something of his. Like, I'm telling you, the argument started over dumb things he wanted to be mad about. And it's so unfortunate that those are the only 2 videos I had, because I had so many more. And it's really unfortunate because those are so small, like, in comparison to the whole relationship. Like, I wish you guys, even the scar I showed you was so small in comparison to, the amount of bruises, the amount of yelling, the amount of him. Those were over crumbs and moving a box wrong of his. Here I am saying, like, it was worse than that. It's so hard because those are just the things you guys heard, but you don't know the full situation. Like, he never wanted me to work out. He never wanted me to go to the gym. Like, he wanted me to eat like shit all the time. I'm just trying to tell you, like, what was going on. I just didn't value myself as a person anymore. Where I think I made the final decision, and this is sad because I don't have that picture anymore. We both went to work one day and... we got in this explosive fight about work. In front of my coworker, he punched me in the face. He split my lip open. And just remember blood, like, running down my face. Like, I looked like Megan Fox in Jennifer's Body movie where she just has all the blood. And in front of somebody else, like, it was ugly. I screamed at him to not freaking touch me. And my whole office staff had to hear that. The other tenants in the office had to hear that. And I had the picture. I deleted it because of him. And it's so unfortunate because we have office cameras, and I asked my boss for the footage, but of course, she's known Victor longer, and she told me I couldn't find it. Even though, she could always find when I was playing on my phone or, like, taking a break, instantly on my butt. But of course she can't find this footage of Victor and me screaming at each other for an hour and him punching me in the face. That was a month before I moved. It was, traumatizing, it was scary. And I just told myself, this is the same situation that I'm putting myself in with, like I did with Kyle. But it's so much worse. Like, the amount of times he's grabbed my throat, the amount of times he shoved me down, the amount of times he's hit me, the amount of times he's thrown stuff at me. Like, it just makes me feel like, am I being punished? And I'm like, what did I do wrong? What have I done so wrong on this earth to deserve that? Because I really don't feel like I deserved it. Every time I'd feel this, I would sweep it under the rug. Or I would think, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed. Like, I have a nice car, I have nice shoes, I have nice jewelry, I have a nice career. And I just made excuses for everything I was going through or dealing with, or I didn't want to seem ungrateful. I didn't want to seem. The other thing is, I know what it's like to be single. I know what it's like to be lonely. I know what it's like to try to date. Like, it's hard. It's not easy. Like, it's not easy to be alone. And, I just think with everything I put my parents through the first time I was a kid, now I'm transitioning into adulthood. And, I'm trying. Here I was, like, telling my parents I'm living this fabulous fairy tale life. And, once again, it's coming crashing down. And I just feel bad. I don't want to interrupt their lives. I don't want to inconvenience them. I don't want them to think their kid is sad. I mean, anyone that's been through domestic abuse, I'm sure knows it's so hard to tell a parent what you're dealing with. It's so hard to tell them that, someone's hurting you. You feel so much older in life and you feel like you just can't. I have a really hard time with feelings. I have a really hard time with crying. I have a really hard time with a lot of things. And, part of that's because then I feel like a burden. But, I just broke down to my dad what I was feeling and I begged him to come and get me. But, you look at it and you think it's so funny that I chose two abusive people. And, I just think maybe that's a pattern from everything I've dealt with. I told the Texas guy that my dad was coming to visit, so he thought my dad was coming to visit. He had his best friend and his girlfriend, and his best friend and his girlfriend, I relied on them as friends because they were the only two people we really hung out with. After the whole face punching incident, I had told them, this is what's happening, I'm gonna leave. Like, I genuinely wanted their advice. I wanted them to tell me, like, hey, am I crazy? Like, this man punched me in the face in front of my coworkers. Do I leave him? And it's so funny because they were so with it. They were like, yeah, leave him. Like, don't be with him. You're in an abusive relationship. They had been with me when he punched me in the nose. Before that, they know what I've been through. They had told me to leave him, but I told that I was leaving him because I wanted to know, hey, am I being dumb? Am I being selfish? Is there a reason I should stay? Like, am I not being grateful for the opportunity I've been given? And they gave me that answer to leave him. So I find it so funny because here I was planning this whole escape. I was planning to pack my stuff with my father, get it all ready to go, contact Texas boy while he was at work, tell him to come visit me, we have a talk, and I leave. And it just be smooth. I was scared that I thought I need to be very careful who I tell. So I told his best friend and his girlfriend because I wanted to make sure. Am I being dumb? They told me to leave him. But then what did they do? They turned around and they told him that I was leaving him. I planned to leave him. I think it was a Thursday. They told him Wednesday night that I was planning on leaving him. So that Thursday morning, I'd packed up the whole house, all my stuff. I thought everything was good to go. And it just became a nightmare. He showed up with them. I had to go get my dad from the airport. So he came home. He said, unlock the door. I unlocked the door. He saw that I was packing all my stuff. And, he tore open the boxes. He's like, I'm going to go through everything because I'm going to decide what you take. You don't get to take everything. I'm gonna decide what you get. That was so hard for me because I just had to leave. And I had to go pick up my dad from the airport. And, I brought my dad back. And it's so funny because when my dad was there, he was so normal. I think the most unfortunate thing about it all is we had pets. So I personally had told my mom, this is way long ago, like maybe 6 months ago. Like, I was so alone because I wasn't allowed to hang out with anybody. I wasn't allowed to make my own friends. Like, I told my mom to bring me a cat. My mom brought me a cat from Utah that she bought. And, I took care of the cat. We had that cat and we felt bad. So we got that cat a friend. Her name was Sasha. Sasha loved me. Sasha used to love. So when I would sleep, Sasha would sleep right here in my neck. She would just lay there and, love on me. And I was paying all the cat's bills. I was paying for the cat's food. I was paying for everything for the cats. And then, one day I found Blair. Blair is our dog. She reminds me, like, seriously, Scooby-Doo, like girl Scooby-Doo. I found her at our office. She was a wandering lost puppy and I took her in and I took care of her. Like, I took care of those three pets on top of maintaining the household, cleaning the household, doing the laundry, cooking. Like, I was taking care of them. When I decided to move out, I got screwed over and I wasn't allowed to keep a single one of them. Not one of them. They were taken from me. And, so here I am, just alone. I don't have anything to rely on. And I moved home as hard as it was, gave up my pets, gave up my job, and now I'm just going to school to be a nurse. But it's just really hard, everything I went through. And, at the end of it, he was so cold. so cold. I just don't know what to say after that. Like, it was just hard. Like, it was genuinely hard. And I think I haven't come to terms with that. I keep it buried down inside of me. But really, that's what it is. Because I just know how to bury it down, talk about it. And I'm hoping by talking about it, it'll hopefully release a lot of tension. I've tried talking about it so many times and it hasn't. And, I'm waiting for it to get better. So I've been through a lot and I feel guilty. And that's the genuine truth. I feel like maybe I was meant to be. Maybe I'm just meant to be alone. Maybe I don't deserve anything. But I just hope that's not true, because I want to meet someone that makes me happy. I want to move on with my life. I want to find my person. I said I don't believe in the fairy tale, but I want the fairy tale. And, that's all I can really say. And thank you guys so much. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.